of Ukraine. Now let's talk about all the major advancements we have seen. So starting north, haven't seen much up here. A little movement here, a little bit down here. They're trying to, again, move around. Big things we saw, this forces arrived over here towards the side of Kiev, and Ukrainian forces have pushed up here, making sure supply routes can still reach cities up along this pass. So that's why Russia has not fully controlled this area. You'll see Russian control of this area soon, most likely once they can get the supplies to the troops who need to push through and get all of these towns. Not much change near Sumy. Heading down here, not much. Again, still not much. You saw more movement down here, expanding out, making sure those cities, again, they're moving, as I said, down here, most likely to connect with forces here. You saw a bolstering of forces here, again, moving slowly up here. You see the forces are concentrating up here to reunite with them so they can connect these two regions. Not much movements out of this area from last week. A little bit up here, a little down here, but not much. One of the big surprises that I've seen is Mariupol is still not under Russian control, and that was where sadly the maternity home was bombed. So sorry to all the victims of that. It's just tragic. But yeah, that is where that's happened, and that's where you most likely the reason that is because I don't think I wasn't expecting it at all, but I thought the city was smaller. It was already surrounded. There's no supplies coming into this place anymore. Seas cut off. This way is cut off unless they're sneaking in supplies or through some humanitarian corridors. Supplies are getting in here. There's nothing much else. So you're not. I don't know. I was wrong. I thought the city would be gone already, but no, it's not. So, but I don't think it'll last the week though. Let's see if it doesn't. I'm wrong again. Heading up here, not much movement. A little more tendrils out here moving this way. Most likely taking up these cities before moving here. Some of these forces might go and connect up with the area because this is largely just open terrain. So Russian forces don't have to get bogged down in any sieges. One of the main larger movements we saw up here was the taking of the city Eperon. I think that's how you say it. That's where the really large nuclear plant was. So the Russian forces have taken here. I don't know if you'll see any naval invasions over here. I'm not sure what their capabilities the Russians are in lake, river, whatever this area is called. I'm going to call it a lake because it seems a little too big to be just a river. So I don't think you'll see many invasions there, though at least not until Russian forces have moved around here and attacked it. I would expect Russian forces to go here. That you're not going to see probably any large fighting for another 2 weeks based off how slow the Russians are going. Now head over to here. Kherson is firmly under Russian control now. You're seeing this force now that Kherson's gone. They've flown up here really fast. This is last week I was talking about invasion here where you'd see defenses here, and the Russians have clearly realized this because attacking over this river area would not be advantageous. So they're going to come up here, take up these cities, and then go down here around the thing towards Odessa. They're still, despite skipping around this river area, they're still not going to have an easy time taking Odessa. Now, one thing I want to show you is this is a list of all the military engagements of the war. And one thing you should really notice is the dates. These are all the these are all the battles that started on the first day of the war, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, and then seventh day. And what you're seeing is there's less and less battles, and this isn't like the problem is here is the Russian forces have way too many of these ongoing. A lot of these victories here, they can't really move past this area right now. Bucha, let's talk about Bucha a little bit. That's up here. right north of Kiev, right there. So that's definitely a good success by the Russians, though, and it'll serve as a good staging ground for there. But it's not going to be anything major. It's not a major loss for the Kiev defensive system. But back here, you're just not seeing many new battles, and this is because Russians just aren't moving far enough. They're not taking the cities they need to. Even in like the smaller cities, these battles should not be lasting this long. These fights should not be lasting weeks. Especially Mariupol, who's been under siege since the beginning of the war. They should not. The Russians really should have taken this a long time ago, and this is what's slowing so much of their movement. Is the cities that they're attacking are just not buckling at all. Now it's time to go into my thoughts. I'm not going to comment on the cities this week because I was very wrong last week. So, because I thought Kharkiv, I didn't think that would fall by now, but I thought it'd be a lot more progress. I thought there'd be fighting here. I thought this city would be taken. I thought this area would be taken by now too. So I was not that accurate, but I think I'll comment on the overall war. They're seeing some good progress towards agreements, though I still don't think these are going to play a major factor in any sort of peace. I just, it's not due to the Ukrainians unwilling to like find some sort of agreement. Well, they aren't going to find an agreement because why would they agree to something right now? They're in way better position than the Russians thought, and the Russians are expecting, especially due to the sanctions by Western nations, which has crippled the Russian economy. But from a Russian perspective, they need to be searching for something, because you're going to start right now. You're seeing a lot of like peaceful protests that are being brutally crushed by Putin, but you're going to see potentially more violent protests soon, especially if the economy continues to get worse. One of the most important factors to effectively all revolutions is not politics or anything like that. It is the economy. If the economy is stable, everything else follows the economy. And Russian economy is not stable. So then on top of like military failures that cost the military general dislike Putin, you're not going to see, you could totally see a revolt in Russia. So I'm going to continue saying the timeline that it won't last past July and won't end before June. But I wouldn't be, there's still distinctly possible that Russia will win. I think that is highly likely. But I think there is totally a possibility, especially with the failures over this week. That's why and the failures this week is largely because you're seeing a lot less actual troop movements, successful troop movements. It's a lot of artillery bombardments. That's why you're seeing a skyrocketing civilian casualty numbers. So on top of that, I think there's potential for some sort of Russian revolt that could definitely end the war. Because if there's something like that, Putin might just be like, okay, I'm going to sign a peace to make sure I can solidify my control at home, because losing this war is not, making sure I win this war right now is not as important as making sure I keep my throne. So that's one way you could definitely see a Ukrainian victory. There's no way Ukraine can actually beat the Russians. It's kind of like the Winter War where Finland was beating them, but like eventually it would just the USSR couldn't win, or USSR would always win. Same thing here. Ukraine has done a great job buying time. But one of the main difference between the Winter War and this is you're seeing a lot more sanctions on Russia as compared to there were on the USSR and during the Finnish War. So back then there wasn't much of a wasn't nearly as much of an economic punishment as it was during the Winter War. So I think it is distinctly possible that this war could end in revolution in Russia.